when you look at Oklahoma City in the Western Conference, like, who do you feel more confident in the Western Conference than Oklahoma City? Like, this is a team that they won the finals last year, and I still don't think they're anywhere close to their ceiling. If it's not Oklahoma City, I think it's going to be Houston. Because what did Houston need this season, right? Like, going in from last season, going into this season, they needed a perimeter scorer, and they needed a guy like Kevin Durant. And what did they do? They went and they got Kevin Durant. You add Maxx Crosby to this defense. You add DeMarvion Overshown to this defense. This team could absolutely make a run at winning the NFC. That's how good they would be. Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the CEO Sports Show for October 22nd, 2025. And on today's episode, we will be going over the opening game for the Rockets and the Thunder. Didn't get a chance to watch the late night game. I'm sorry, I'm on the East Coast. It's very hard to do that. And I'm also going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys potentially trading for Maxx Crosby. So before we get into the episode, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to check out the rest of the Kretschman Media shows. It's on the homepage of the CEO Sports Show. And before we get in the episode, I have a question for you guys. Why would you want an ibuprofen when you can have a perk? So I want to start off by talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I must say, I was very impressed with what they showed in this game against the Houston Rockets. Without J-Dub, they were still able to get out a win here against what I think is going to be a Houston Rockets team that is going to give the rest of the Western Conference a big time problem. That's how good I think Houston is. And Oklahoma City was still able to pull out a win here. They made the plays in key spots that I don't feel like Houston made, and especially Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I honestly thought that Shai didn't have like a eye-popping game until I checked the stat sheet and I saw, wow, he had 35 points. I mean, he was just so nails in the critical situation. And I think that's where you have to give him big-time credit in this game. 12 of 26 from the field, 10 of 14 from the free throw line. But then again, like 1 for 9 from 3. Like, you want to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander shoot a little better than that, but that's going to come in time. It's still the first game of the season. Overall, as a team, the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't really shoot that well in this game at all from 3. I mean, 13 for 52, that's 25%. That's really, really bad. But I don't expect that that's going to be something that's going to be a problem for them going forward. They can hit the ball. They can hit the 3 ball very well. So another player that I was very impressed with in this game was Chet Holmgren, right? Like, Chet Holmgren, 28, 7, and how many assists did he have? 28, 7, and 2. Like, that's pretty damn good. Like, Chet Holmgren, to me, is a guy that I think could be a perennial all-NBA player. Maybe not this year. He's still developing. He's still growing into his man body, right? Like, we talk about this in football all the time. You're growing into your man body. That's what Chet Holmgren's still doing here. If Chet Holmgren can continue to show what he showed last night with his offensive game, and you add into the fact that he's already a really damn good defender, this guy is going to be one of the best players in the NBA. Like, when you look at what Chet Holmgren has and what he provides from his body type, you just don't see that many body types in the NBA. And especially when you see some of these guys like Wembanyama rolling around the NBA, and some of these stretch fours, that are long and lanky. That's something that Oklahoma City has. And I was very happy that they decided to pay Chet Holmgren, because I just think that this young man has so much potential. And you saw that on display big time in this game tonight. I mean, he was white hot to start the game. I think he had the first 11 points, if I'm not mistaken, for the Oklahoma City Thunder. On the game, I mean, 11 for 17 from the field, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. He was 2 for 5 from three-point land, which, like, hey, if you're 2 for 5 from the three-point land at his height, and he's doing what he usually does when it comes to rim protection and playing defense at a high level and grabbing boards, like, yeah, you feel very good about that young man and what he was able to provide to your basketball team. I am such a fan of Chet Holmgren. And not only that, like, it still shocks me that I don't even think Oklahoma City played that well tonight or last night. I really don't. And they still found a way to win this game. That just shows the championship grit that they have. That just shows the belief they have in each other and just how well coached they are, how much talent they have on that team, and the chemistry that talent has. Because, like, they could have easily have lost this game. And playing without J-Dub too, I mean, I think that's just flat out impressive. And when you look at Oklahoma City in the Western Conference, like, who do you feel more confident in the Western Conference than Oklahoma City? Like, this is a team that they won the finals last year, and I still don't think they're anywhere close to their ceiling, right? Like I talked about with Chet Holmgren, I still think he's going to continue to improve, and I think he's going to continue to improve on his offensive game. And if he does that, along with Shea probably taking another step forward because he's a year older, and J-Dub taking another step forward because he's more mature and he's a year older, I mean, this team, they have such a high floor and they have a high ceiling, right? Like, I love the Rockets. I love what they've done from a personnel perspective and building their roster out. But when you look at both of these teams, I mean, how can you feel good betting against the Oklahoma City Thunder? They have a star player who shows up in big games, who not just shows up in big games, but shows up in big spots as well. And that's just critical, right? Like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was talking about in an interview that he wants to surpass Kobe, I think were his words, right? Like, look, I'm not saying he's Kobe Bryant. I'm not saying he's ever going to get there, because I don't even think that's fair to put those type of expectations on Shai, just because, like, Kobe Bryant was playing at such a high level for such an extended period of time. Like, we're talking about when he got into the league, he was one of the best players in the NBA. Like, once he started to hit his stride, he was one of the best players in the NBA for, 15 years. I don't know if Shai can do that. He can, but to the level that Kobe Bryant did it, I don't know about all that. But he does have a lot of Kobe Bryant traits. He's cold-blooded. He makes plays in big spots. And he might not end up with the resume that Kobe Bryant has, but we're going to look at this guy and we're going to say he's one of the greats. Like, he's starting to prove that he has an MVP. He has a finals under him, and he has a finals MVP. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, this guy is on pace to be one of the greats. So Oklahoma City, just extremely impressive. And way to pull out a win. If you're an OKC fan, you got to feel fired up after this game. Hey, quick break. Please make sure, if you're enjoying the episode so far, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the show and some of the topics that we've been talking about. And also make sure to go check out the other shows on the Kretschman Media Network. They're on the homepage of the CEO Sports Show. I would greatly appreciate that. So I want to talk about the Houston Rockets, because that was a disheartening loss for them. I mean, going to 2 overtimes and losing that game, I feel for Rockets fans out there, because that's just never a good feeling, that when you invest so much time into a game and you stay up late to watch them and you end up losing. I feel bad for you guys. But there were a lot of good things that the Houston Rockets showed in this game, right? Like, this is still a team that's going to try and find their footing because they added a player like Kevin Durant, right? Like, when you add a player like that, your entire offense revolves around that player and all the opportunities that come from defenses adjusting to that player. So wait until probably halfway through the season and you'll see this offense clicking at a very high level. I still think that when you look at this team, they're still a little bit away from the standpoint of, getting Kevin Durant adjusted to the offense and having the offense adjust to having Kevin Durant there. And I do think they need to add a point guard. I didn't see much flow in their offense. If you ask me, my personal opinion, I didn't like the flow that I saw with the offense. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you're asking guys to play a role that they're not used to playing, right? Like, Amin Thompson, to me, I don't think that he's a point guard, in my personal opinion. Like, I don't think that the pass first type of point guard role is something that Amin Thompson is going to thrive in. And it's unfortunate that they lost Fred VanVleet at the beginning of the season, because, that would have helped them in this game, because they need a point guard bad. That's something that come trade deadline time, maybe not even trade deadline time, they're going to have to start inquiring about adding a point guard, because I just think that that's what this offense needs. And I like Reed Shepherd. I don't think Reed Shepherd's there yet. I mean, second-year player. I don't know if you can start him, hand him the ball, and have him be that pass-first kind of offensive engine that you want him to be. And I just that's just the way I think about their point guard situation right now. They're probably going to have to go and find a guy that can be a legit starter for them. But when you look at this team as a whole, like Sengun yesterday was fantastic. He played at such a high level. I mean, 39 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. I mean, almost had a triple-double. I mean, that's incredible. And obviously, we know Alperen Sengun is a fantastic player. But man, he played at such a high level yesterday. Not only that, Amin Thompson, even though he shot 0 for 7 from 3, I mean, 18 points on 5 assists and 4 rebounds. Like, when he was in the game, because he did get hurt in this game, when he was in the game, this guy was an absolute problem, like in a good way. He was making plays happen. He was making things happen. And I just think that when you look at this Rockets team as a whole, to me, I think they're the second best team in the West, if you ask me. Like, they took this Oklahoma City team. They gave them all they could handle. And it's the first game of the season. Things are going to happen throughout the course of the season where, you know, the Rockets are going to get more comfortable. They're going to find themselves. To me, I personally think that if it's not Oklahoma City that makes it to the finals and wins the finals, because I don't think anybody out east is going to win the finals. If it's not Oklahoma City, I think it's going to be Houston. Because what did Houston need this season, right? Like going in from last season, going into this season. They needed a perimeter scorer. And they needed a guy like Kevin Durant. And what did they do? They went and they got Kevin Durant. So that's where I look at this team and I say last year was such a step forward for them as an organization. And this year, I think they're only going to raise what they did last year. They're going to take it to another level. I know they lost in the first round, but I think, you know, you bring in Kevin Durant and you're in year 2 of Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka to me is, I'm just going to say this. I know he doesn't have any championships, but I think he's the best coach in the NBA. Like, I don't think that there is a coach that raises the floor of his team to the level of Ime Udoka. Even though Steve Kerr has the championships, I'm just talking about right now, at this moment, currently, I think that Ime Udoka is the best. Again, hard to maybe make a legitimate argument for that with some people because of the resume. But even still, like, took Boston to the finals in his first year. Then this year, last year, he took a Houston Rockets team that was selecting 3rd in the draft and took them to the point where they were, I think, the 2nd or 3rd seed in the Western Conference last year. I mean, that's fantastic. That's tremendous. If they didn't play the Golden State Warriors, they probably end up getting into the second round, and we see what happens there. But this team is super legit. They are a team that can absolutely win the West, and they're going to give anybody in the West problems. That's just the way I feel about them. Hey, quick break. Please make sure, if you're enjoying the episode so far, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the show and some of the topics that we've been talking about. And also make sure to go check out the other shows on the Kretschman Media Network. They're on the homepage of the CEO Sports Show. I would greatly appreciate that. So let's talk about our final topic of the day, and that is the Cowboys reaching out to the Las Vegas Raiders about Maxx Crosby. Trey Wingo yesterday on X said that the Cowboys have reached out about Maxx Crosby. They made inquiries, but there are other people like Jane Slater, like Tom Pelissero, that are saying, hey, the Raiders aren't interested in trading Maxx Crosby. But here's the thing. I don't know who to believe, because there was a situation during the whole Micah Parsons and Dallas thing where people were like, no, Dallas isn't going to trade Micah Parsons. They're not doing that. It's not going to happen, right? And it's funny because yesterday, Trey Wingo then posted a GIF of, like, you know, somebody like smiling, like one of those type of things. You guys know what I'm talking about. In response to somebody saying, hey, you know, this rumor isn't true, this, that, and the third. He's being told something. He's being told something from somebody. And when we start to lead up to the days towards the trade deadline and the Raiders probably keep on losing, there might actually be some legit movement there. I think that the Raiders will start to take calls for Maxx Crosby. And if you're the Cowboys, you absolutely jump on this, because what is it going to cost you to get Maxx Crosby? Probably a 1 for 2026 and probably a 3 for 2027. That's what I think is probably going to happen there. And maybe a guy on their team like a Marshawn Nealon or somebody like that, a young player along those lines who's showing a little bit of promise. That's what I think it's going to take. And if that's what it takes, the Cowboys need to take that. Because this offense for the Cowboys, don't get it twisted, is the best offense in football. It is. This offense is elite for the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott is playing like the best quarterback in football at the current moment. You have to take advantage of this window that you have. You add Maxx Crosby to this defense. You add DeMarvion Overshown to this defense. This team could absolutely make a run at winning the NFC. That's how good they would be. Because at that point, you add Overshown and Crosby to your defense. You improve your defensive line and you improve your linebacker room. But when you improve your defensive line and your pass rush, you want to know what that does? Improves your secondary. So you're getting improvement on all three levels of the field with just those two moves that you can make. And they're returning this rookie, Savon Revel, who a lot of people looked at as a potential first-round pick. We'll see what happens there. Man, like, yeah. If this defense can be at least average, the Cowboys are going to be in a situation to win the NFC. That's how good this offense is. You don't need an elite defense if you have this offense. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, the playoffs with Dak. Can't trust Dak in the playoffs. I'm going to be honest with you. When I look at Dak Prescott and I look at the fire in his eyes, that looks different. When I look at Brian Schottenheimer and the offense that he's designing and I see the fire in his eyes, that looks different. I think that this team is going to get to the playoffs if they add Maxx Crosby, and it's going to be different. Like, I think this offense is going to play at a high level no matter who plays on the other side of the ball. That's just how confident I am in Dak Prescott. That's how confident I am in the weapons that they have on this team, the run game that they have. That's how confident I am in Brian Schottenheimer. And the thing is, right, if the Cowboys are worried about, like, oh, we traded, a number one or a first-round draft pick for a 28-year-old player, Maxx Crosby probably has 5 years left of playing at a high level. Dak Prescott probably has somewhere 5 to 7 years left of playing at a high level. The rest of their primes match up with each other. So, I mean, after Dak Prescott's done, then you rebuild, right? Like, that's what you do there. And they could still re-sign George Pickens. And they could still add another piece to this defense through the draft. And they're still going to have a second round pick. Yes, the Cowboys need to make this move. Maxx Crosby's that type of player. Everything that Jerry Jones said Micah Parsons wasn't is what Maxx Crosby is. He's a leader. You're going to have a leader on that side of the ball. Day one, he's going to come in and command respect. You want to know why he's going to command respect? Because he's one of the best defensive ends in football. He's one of the best defensive players in football. He's going to command respect because of who he is, the person he is, and the player that he is. Isn't that what Jerry Jones was complaining about when it came to Micah Parsons? I personally think that this is on the Raiders, right? Like, if a deal doesn't get done, I don't think it's because the Cowboys didn't want a deal done. Like, yeah, like if the Cowboys say, hey, we'll give you 4 first-round picks for him, yeah, they get a deal done, right? Like, obviously, you're not going to do that, though. Like, I don't think the Cowboys should price themselves to a different level to where it's like, we're giving you 2 first-round picks for him, because at the end of the day, he is 28 years old. You don't give up 2 first-round picks for a 28-year-old player unless he's a quarterback. I just don't believe that. But at that point, then you can tell people, hey, we won the Micah Parsons trade because we used one of the first-round picks that we got to bring in Maxx Crosby, a defensive end that all around is probably a better defensive end than Micah Parsons, and we're not paying him $40+ million a year. His contract is actually pretty manageable when you look at the cap hits. It's actually really, really manageable. They can fit that under the cap, and they can fit a George Pickens contract under the cap. And if they do that, if they add Maxx Crosby to this team, over the next 4 years, they're going to win a Super Bowl. That's just the way I feel. That's the way I feel about this team. Lamb still has plenty of years left. Dak still has plenty of years left. Pickens still has plenty of years left. They have a young offensive line that's continuing to develop and develop. They have a fantastic head coach, from what it looks like, in Brian Schottenheimer. They would have Maxx Crosby on defense, and they would be able to add to this defense. There's no way in the world that the first round pick that the Cowboys are going to use this year to draft a defensive player will be nearly as good as Maxx Crosby. It's not going to happen. You want to know why? Because there's not NFL players that have been doing this for years upon years upon years that are going to come close to Maxx Crosby, that were drafted in the first round, that are very good players. Because that's the type of player Maxx Crosby is. He is a difference maker. And the Cowboys have difference makers on the offensive side of the ball. They need a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. And I promise you, when Maxx Crosby, if he gets traded to the Cowboys, their pass rusher will be better as a whole. Not just because they added Maxx Crosby. Well, yeah, because they added Maxx Crosby. But because of what offensive lines or what offenses are going to do to, work around Maxx Crosby. Now they're not going to be able to pay so much attention to the interior. You're going to see Oso Digizua start to pop off because of the fact that there's a guy drawing so much attention. You're going to see Kenny Clark start to pop off. Donovan Ezaraku is a rookie that they really like that's playing at a high level. That has the potential to play at a really, really high level. I mean, not playing at a high level. Yeah, he's playing good football, but he's not playing at a super high level. But man, yes. Cowboys, make this move. Make this move. Because then, you're not giving up any picks in the 2027 draft, and you still have 2 first-round picks in that draft. You can add defensive players there. And not only that, you have a player to build around on your defense. You're going to be able to add a defensive player in the first and the second round this year. You can add them around Maxx Crosby. You're going to be able to add 3 defensive players in 2027's draft to add around Maxx Crosby. If they make this move, they're winning a Super Bowl in the next 4 years. That's just what it's going to be. They're going to get young on defense. They're going to have a legit leader. They're going to have an explosive offense. Yes, Jerry has to make this move if it's available, but for the right price. A 1 is fair. Another 3 is fair. Another player, a young player, maybe not a guy like Donovan Ezaraku. That might be a little bit too much to give up. But another player, that's fair. Jerry, if you can make the move, make the move. This team is ready. This team is there when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Defense, I just think they need a difference maker there. I think they need a difference maker on that side of the ball. And then I think you'll see the rest of the defense play better. I think they need direction. They need leadership. Man, you have Kenny Clark and Maxx Crosby in this locker room. Come on now. Make the deal, Jerry. You got to make this happen. Thank you guys for tuning in. I greatly appreciate that. Please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure to check out the rest of the shows on the Kretschman Media Network. I would greatly appreciate that. You guys have been fantastic for the show and for the company and the network that we're trying to build right now. And we're getting there, man. We're getting there. And I appreciate all the kind comments that I've been getting recently. I really, really do appreciate that. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to comment in the comment section what you thought about the show, some of the topics that we talked about. I'm always trying to get better at this and learn from people who are passionate about what they're passionate about, right? Because look, I cover every sport. So I'm not going to know the ins and outs of every team. So if there's some ins and outs that I'm missing, please let me know so that I can look into that, research it, and make my commentary better. I'm going to tell you this firsthand, because there's a lot of guys out there like, Colin Cowherd and Stephen A. Smith. They talk about every team, but they're not informed about every team. And I don't think they're willing to hear the perspective from somebody who invests way more time into a team. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I'm trying to get better at this. So I greatly appreciate you guys. I will see you guys on the next episode.